Hello and welcome to the latest episode of Life Stores Markham, the podcast. Life Stories podcast is devoted to providing our audience with a deeper understanding of the individuals that's behind the public persona. I'm your host, Michael Heap, and I'm joined by my co-host, Neelesh Hathi, in the control room. On our channel, Neelesh and I will delve into the life story of various people in our community. Now, if you're watching on YouTube or listening to our podcast, please subscribe so you don't miss a single episode.
Now joining us tonight are Ron and Jane Morgan. Ron is a former professional hockey player, and Jane volunteers with the Special Olympic athletes. She created the curling program at Unionville Curling Club, and they both have lived very adventurous lives, as you will hear. Welcome to the show, Ron and Jane.
Great to have you guys.
Thank you very much for the invitation.
Great. So we have a number of things we want to talk to you about. And our crack research department has done some digging. And the one story we wanted to start off with involves scuba diving, which may not be a surprise. So I wanted to take us back to an event. You're on your honeymoon, I believe, and you're scuba diving, and you found yourself in a bit of a situation. So maybe, Ron, I'll ask you to start out and tell us what happened that day.
I probably rather not, because I'm the one that caused the issues for Jane. But yeah, we were celebrating our honeymoon and we did a dive. And this is when we were relatively new into scuba. But we did a dive just off of, in Florida, off of Tampa. Okay. And we went out on a dive boat. There was 4 of us all together, plus a dive master. When we went out, it was a light rain, and it wasn't too it wasn't too bad as far as a dive goes. There was some vision issues, but it was a pretty normal dive for the most part. We were down in the dive about 20 minutes. When we realized that we were going with the current and we should have probably been going against it, and realized that the people we were diving with didn't really know that much about scuba diving, and we were kind of novice on it. And when we did surface, we saw the dive boat going the other way. Wow. And
well, not to interrupt.
It was a little concerning.
Well, not to interrupt. The big issue was that I had a faulty air tank. I had run out of air.
We were getting to that one.
That was below the surface.
Before
we surfaced, yes.
Jane had a leaky regulator.
Yeah.
And so anyways, we started our dives, came up to the surface, and saw the boat going the other way, and along with that, the weather had changed. Right. And instead of a 2-foot wave, we were now into 8 to 10-foot waves, and a dive boat disappearing. And one of the troughs that we kind of fell into as we were
trying to gather our strength to carry on, and we see the dive boat going the other way, right. And there we are, we're buddy breathing, which brings a whole new interest level. We're sharing the tank.
I basically gave Jane my air.
Yeah.
I mean, what's going through your mind at that point, Jane, when the boat is going away from you?
That this is a very short-lived marriage. There wasn't a chance we were surviving this. There was absolutely no chance.
Yeah. So we did surface. We realized that we had a problem with air, and now the boat wasn't visible at all.
Yep.
Okay. So they had gone to rescue another lady that was diving with us. Okay. And
and so they finally came to us. Like, it was, I honestly didn't think we were surviving this. We were over an hour in that water.
We were out in the Gulf Stream. You couldn't see land. All you could see was waves and a couple sharks that decided to visit us.
Yeah.
So some sharks decided to come around just to make it more interesting.
Just to see if there was a good meal there.
Wow. And you could see these sharks, could you?
Yes,
you could see the shadow, and then they brush against you a little bit, and And then that was the start of our marriage.
That was the start of our marriage.
Well, what they say, if you can survive that, you can survive
Well,
anything.
that was the hope. That
Yes.
was definitely the hope.
Right.
But we even did, once the boat did finally circle around, and they told us that they had called into the Coast Guard, but they couldn't launch any aircraft because of the weather.
Oh, okay.
And then finally they finally picked us up, and and then we decided there was 2 dives. That was the first dive, and I decided that we had to do the second dive, even though we were pretty scared.
Absolutely frightened. Yeah.
Yeah.
So the second dive, was it a cave or a wreck?
It was a wreck.
It was a wreck dive.
Okay.
I'll never do another wreck dive again either. Like that was.
I'm surprised you would do any dive.
Well,
after that, to be honest with you.
Well,
shocking.
to make it even worse, the jellyfish.
Yeah.
There was about a 15 or 20 foot wall of jellyfish that we had to spread them
Right.
in order to get down to the wreck that we
Sure.
were
Right.
diving.
Just your regular outing on your honeymoon, you know.
And
Now,
we-
Jane, I don't know anything about diving. I barely learned how to swim when I was 50. But what is wreck diving?
They've had sunk a couple ships off the coast of Florida, and so we would dive.
You dive and you go into the wreck and you look around
okay.
and you see it's
I thought
quite.
wreck was going for a wreck. I thought it was a wreck, like a thing.
No, a
Like
W-R-E-C-K.
recreation diving.
Oh no, a wreck dive. Yeah. It was interesting, but there was a lot of different marine life down there. Let me say.
There was about a 6 foot barracuda that decided to join us in the wheelhouse. So just to kind of top off the experience.
Right. I'm pretty sure I saw a movie about this particular
The
experience.
movie came out a couple of years after it, but I felt like we were starring in it almost.
Yeah. it
But what
was.
an awful feeling, and
Wow, I can't imagine.
but anyways, managed to survive it, and 30 years later, we're
Yeah, we're still.
just not diving anymore.
No. But
Now, speaking of adventurous activities on the water, I believe you also enjoyed for a while offshore boating.
some of us, one of us, really enjoyed it.
I loved
They
it.
experienced it, didn't necessarily enjoy it. So maybe for the people, just explain what offshore boating is.
Yeah, we were involved in some poker runs in and around the Kingston area, and you not only race, but you're also gathering a poker hand at the same time. And the boats are anywhere from 30 feet to 60 feet.
Oh,
We had a 43-foot boat with triple engine in it.
that's a significant size boat.
Yeah, and you would be doing 100 miles an hour plus on the water, which, it was exciting. But the reason we got rid of it is Jane couldn't talk, and because I couldn't hear anything. And that's when the boat, we got a cruising boat after that.
Okay.
Yeah. But the thing about the offshore boating, there parts of it were fun. The noise was awful.
Yeah.
Docking the boat was another whole matter
Because of the
altogether.
size of the boat.
The size of the bow, like it never ended. And my job was to somehow navigate the ropes, and as this boat is moving, I'm to run up to the end of the bow and throw the rope onto the dock, run back to the back of this 40-foot boat. It was not, I didn't really enjoy
Yeah, I think
that
it was the
much.
noise that really did you
The
in.
noise did me
that,
in. Yeah, but I did get a facelift every time we went out.
Well, not only a facelift. At one time we were going fairly open throttle, and Jane stood up a little bit. The hat went, the glasses went,
Oh, the whole 9 yards.
everything disappeared.
Yeah, it was fun. The poker runs were fun. I
Now,
have
so
to say.
poker, that's my game.
That's
So, how was that? Did you win poker? Or do you want to come to my game?
Did we which? Sorry.
Did
we
you win the poker?
No, we did not win the poker, but we met some interesting people along the way.
So I could invite you to my poker game then.
Yeah, if you were fast enough, you got the right cards, but
Right.
we didn't actually ever win a poker hand. But we had a lot of fun in that.
Because you're speeding off to different locations to pick up a card. Is it?
Yeah.
That's how it
Yes.
works?
So you have to navigate in to get the card, and then it's timing too. And
Right.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, the whole thing.
Right. So your days of scuba diving and offshore boating are behind you,
They are.
but you still do a little bit of boating now, I imagine. Do you?
We do at the cottage. Yeah, we do a bit of boating, but it's a lot milder now. I'm more into paddle boarding and canoeing.
Sure.
So
And I'm in-
Ron, not so much.
yeah, sometimes I like to go a little faster.
Yeah,
But,
Just a little.
Just a little.
yeah.
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 But now with all the grandchildren and everything, it's pretty calm compared to
Right.
what
Yeah.
some of the
Are you,
things we used to
are
try.
you pulling them on your tubes, their grandchildren?
Oh, they love tubing and skiing and
Oh, yeah, I
all
bet.
that. Yeah, yeah. So they're very much into that. But I'm trying to steer them into the paddle boarding more with the press of gas.
Ron, do you
Yeah.
just gun it once in
Ron
a while?
just guns it.
Yeah, so I'm doing yoga on a paddleboard now.
We need some pictures of that.
Oh,
Right?
yeah.
Yeah, we'll be selling those.
Yeah.
Right. So the boating you do now and the other activities on the water are at the cottage.
They're at the cottage.
And this is a family cottage, I believe, that you've enjoyed for many years.
That's right. My family originally purchased this cottage on Snake Island 70 years ago this year.
70.
70. And over the years, my brothers and sister and niece and a cousin, we've all bought our own places. So we're basically a compound on the island.
Right.
Yeah,
Right.
so there's half the time there's like between 30 and 40 of us up there at one time. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, so it's
Now,
great fun.
for those people outside Ontario, where is Snake Island?
Snake Island's on Lake Simcoe. So from here, from your home, it would be about 45 minutes to an hour from your driveway to the ferry.
Oh.
Yeah.
From Markham right to there.
From Markham
is
right
about-
to the air. Right, you take a ferry across
Okay.
to the island. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So it's been like family central for all
Sure.
these years.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
So if you don't like your family, you've got nowhere to run.
Don't tell Ron that. No. No, we don't.
Let's get back to other fast and loud types of transportation. Motorcycles. So we've gone from boating now, we're on land, motorcycles, and you both rode a Harley Davidson for some time and traveled around a bit. So maybe Ron, how did that start for you in terms of riding a Harley Davidson motorcycle?
Should we start when Jane tried to run over the instructor?
Let's start there, absolutely.
I got her license immediately.
Aha, out of fear
So,
on the part of the instructor.
I will let you speak up with the.
Well, I didn't have much experience on bicycles, but nothing with a motor on it.
Sure.
So I was very green compared to the other 40 guys in the course. so I didn't have the brake on, you know.
Right.
I just gunned it, and
Sure.
the guy ran for his life, and the next thing I knew, I'd passed the course.
Just to get rid of you, he gave you
Just
the
to
time.
Don't give her the bike back. Don't let her wreck the course. Yeah.
Yeah, no. But no, we had a lot of fun on the motorcycles.
Yeah, we did
the
some
Harley.
great rides
Yeah,
through
wonderful.
Vermont and
Yeah.
that was some exciting times,
Yeah.
especially following that trailer in
A huge truck, manure truck in
Liquid
upstate
manure.
New York.
Oh,
we got stuck behind it
got
on the Harley,
oh,
and
There was nowhere to
there was
go.
nowhere to go. You
Right.
couldn't pass it because you knew what was coming off of the wheels and everything. So
right. Ooh,
we
Lovely.
had some adventures and then some not so adventures.
right.
Yeah.
But no, with the Harley, we had a great time.
Yeah.
A lot of times we just get up on Sunday morning and ride for 2 hours and come back, and always going north. So it's
Sure.
kind of nice traffic wise.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh my God! You know, I mean, this is people that know you from the curling club, Unionville Curling Club. are going to go, you guys, you're so mild-mannered, easy-going, nice. Now you're Harley Davidson riders, you're adventure, you're divers.
Yeah.
What else? Curling?
Well, that's been another adventure, I have to say.
Right.
When we started curling in the 90s, been curling quite a long time.
Okay.
We were looking for something else to do because we spent so much time with our kids in arenas and swimming pools and everything else. And it was the open house sign at the curling rink that I had seen, and went in and investigated. At that time in the 90s, in order to join, you had to belong to 2 sections.
Okay.
We weren't prepared to join 2. We had like 2 hours, one night a week.
Right.
When we weren't driving kids around. So it took a
Or
couple...
driving motorcycles.
Or driving, exactly. So it took a couple years to get in. We had to wait for the rules to change.
Right.
And so then when it finally did, we joined the mixed section. And we were extremely lucky. Our first skip and vice were Fran and Glenn Allen, who were long time members of the curling club. And you couldn't have asked for nicer people to, most people at the curling club are nice.
There's many trophies with their names on them, I think.
Yes,
Yeah, for
yes,
sure.
they were both, he was
Wonderful people.
wonderful people. So, so we were very, very fortunate.
Right. And you've continued to this day.
And we've continued to this day,
I don't know if you're aware of it, but Jane also became president of the club too, the
Okay.
curling club.
Wow.
So that was back in
2004.
Okay.
I had to look it up. It was...
And how was that experience being the president of the club?
Oh, that was very interesting. It was a very interesting. We were on the board for a long time, so you definitely get to know the ins and outs of things.
Sure.
There were a lot of unique situations that arose that you don't necessarily have the experience in, because my background was in teaching, so it was in keeping order.
Right.
It wasn't in the type of problem solving that we had to find a new manager.
Sure.
We had issues with the food, chillers breaking. Anyway, it was one thing after another, but it was a good experience, I have to say.
So just so you know, Michael and I have put our names forward for the board this year.
Congratulations.
And by the time you're watching this, we may or may not have been on the board, voted in or voted out.
Yep.
But if we get voted in, we're going to come to you for some advice.
Oh, well, there you go.
Well, Jane also took curling to a new level into body checking, and so you can tell them about how you started off with me.
So our first game, of course, with Fran and Glenn Allen, Ron's the second, I'm the lead, because he's the man. Of course, he gets the second position, right? so
That was back in the 90s.
that was back in the 90s. So in those days, we both swept on the same side, okay?
Okay.
Ron's a little bigger than I am, and like by about 100 pounds. And so we're going up and down, and I think at least I can sweep. Like I'm not doing well with throwing the rock, but at least I can sweep.
Right.
Until I accidentally stuck my broom out and tripped him, and down went the hockey player on the curling rink ice in front of all these people. I thought that was the end of our curling. It was not a wise move on my part.
It was a full-on wipeout. I don't think I've been hit that hard playing hockey.
And just for the record, he did say accidentally.
Accidentally.
We have that on tape now, so there's no confusion.
No lawsuits coming.
What an experience.
It was a little scary.
Right. And Ron, you have, as Jane has alluded to, you spent a lot of time on the ice in your younger days. You started out as a hockey player. And I believe, if I'm not mistaken, going back as far as the Markham Waxers, when you were quite young, a teenager.
Yeah, I was about 14 or 15 when I went out with the Waxers, and then ended up getting signed in Richmond Hill with the junior team, but started off with Waxers, and went on from there.
Mm-hmm. So where was the next stage of your hockey career after the Waxers?
junior in Ontario, and then I guess about 1968, I had an offer for a scholarship in the States.
Okay.
So I took a hockey scholarship, and then right out of the university, I was drafted by Cleveland.
Okay.
And went on to play for wherever Cleveland sent me.
At that time, Cleveland was a professional team in the WHA,
Yeah.
which later merged with the NHL, as we know.
Yes. Yeah, that's correct.
Wow.
Yeah, and so it was nice. I got to be with some people that are kind of common names for pro hockey players. Jerry Cheevers was our goaltender, and Wayne Hillman, Larry Hillman, who played for the Leafs. And
Right. Yeah.
so I got to meet a lot of incredible people and travel a bit and
Wonderful. Yeah. What an experience.
enjoyed it. Yeah, it was great. Well, for the first 10 years, I didn't really work. I went to the rink. It was amazing.
You got paid to play hockey?
It's something I love to do, and lucked out and got put on a couple really good teams.
Yeah. And
So Ron, it was.
Look at Alicia's.
I'm guessing it is a little different traveling back then in the late 60s, early 70s than it is now. I see Carl Dubas wanted a private jet to fly around. I bet you didn't have a private jet, eh?
No, there was some private buses. If you've ever had to ride a bus with 24 players, it's a little exciting sometimes.
Yeah.
I bet you the hockey world would stank a bit.
Yeah.
So who was the toughest, dirtiest player you played against, Ron?
Gordie Howe, by far.
By far.
By far.
The much revered Gordie Howe was that tough.
Yes, yeah, and he was playing for Houston at the time with his two sons, and he just finished hacking at me a couple times, and I told him that if you do that one more time, I'm going to get your kid.
Okay.
So Gordie talked to me afterwards. Said it's the first time anybody said that. I said, "Well, Gordie, you realize I was only kidding."
But it worked.
And had a beer with him, and he thought it was pretty funny to have a 21-year-old coming back against him.
Right.
Yeah.
So many years later, how would you compare that experience on the ice with Gordie Howe to that first curling experience with Jane when she's got the stick?
Yeah, she didn't believe that she was going to get a 5-minute penalty.
I had to buy him a beer.
Yeah.
No, oh, that was crazy.
Now, Ron, did you room with anybody that we would have heard of?
Well, Jerry Cheevers was who played for Boston, and he was a really good friend. Through him, I met quite a few other people that were, other hockey players or personalities. And
Did Jerry snore?
No,
you have to
Ron
ask
does.
his wife. No, not anymore.
Yeah, Jerry had a long career as a goaltender for the Bruins.
Bruins and Cleveland. He was for 3 years in Cleveland, then went back to the NHL.
Right. Wonderful.
Ron, do you have a, sorry, this just came up to me. Do you have a card? Like, those hockey cards?
Yeah, I do somewhere, but we've tried to relocate it. We thought some of the grandkids, but can't seem to find it anymore.
Oh, that'd be pretty cool.
Yeah.
Oh, maybe it's out there somewhere. It might surface.
Yeah.
Yeah. Wow.
Considering all our grandchildren that play hockey all have their own cards.
Yeah.
That's right. They do now, don't
You
they?
just have to show up and pay your. No, I'm just kidding, Ron. Yours would have been.
Maybe Granddad can autograph their
Well, there
cards.
you go. Yeah.
As long as there's money with it.
So Jane,
Yes.
I need to ask you about the Special Olympics.
Okay.
So you were heavily involved in a Special Olympics program at the Unionville Curling Club. Can you take us back to what prompted you to get involved in that?
Yes, I can. So in the 90s, our daughter was at Brother Andre High School, and she and her student council, or her athletic council, started a program for special needs kids, a sports day. at the end of the year, like a play day.
Which they
And
probably hadn't had prior to that.
they did not, they had not had anything like that. And it was an overwhelming success. I went to see it, and it really hit something with me. And I thought, you know, I could probably do something like that. I know how to curl, kind of know how to curl now. Maybe I could start a curling program. So there was that. There was what Katie had done. But also my youngest brother was Down syndrome, and he was always in the back of my mind that you will never feel like you've done enough for someone in your family. And so he was no longer with us, but in his memory, I thought, you know, maybe a Special Olympics curling program could be started. I had no idea what I was doing. I didn't have anybody helping me in that regard. I went to the AGM for the curling club and asked for an hour of ice time, 1 day a week, 1 sheet. And the responses weren't positive initially. It took quite a bit to get
Oh, it took you a lot
to
of
gain
effort.
the approval of people.
Wow, but you
Now,
persevered.
I persevered, but I had no athletes. I had no athletes, no volunteers. I just had an idea.
Wow.
And so anyway, it just took me about a month to come up with some athletes, and I had more volunteers than athletes at the beginning. And that's how we started in 2001. And we've cycled through a lot of different athletes over the years. We have one athlete that started in 2001, and he's still with us.
Wonderful.
Yeah. But others have moved on, and
Sure.
they've had, you know, different physical complications and whatnot. But yeah, it's just been the most rewarding program ever.
Well, especially the amount of effort it took to get the program put together.
Yeah,
Your part
yeah.
was,
It just,
was on the persistence. If you hadn't stuck with it, it wouldn't have happened.
No, it was really good. And so over the years, we've had evenings when the firefighters have joined us, and we'll get like 15 firefighters coming in, and it's the highlight of their year coming to curl with us. And yeah, so it's been really
Wonderful.
good.
Well,
Yeah.
I mean, kudos to you, Jane, for doing that.
Thank you.
And, yeah, it's wonderful.
Thank you.
Yeah.
It's been very rewarding, as all the volunteers, coaches will attest to. Yeah.
And you brought a little a book today with us that we'll try to incorporate into the video when we post it on YouTube. But there's a commemorative book of Special Olympics with a foreword from Wayne Gretzky, and there's a whole section in there devoted to what you did.
That's right.
In curling.
In curling, yeah. That was Special Olympics Canada. I'm in, like, my direct relationship is with Special Olympics Ontario, and we're York South.
But we did get involved with the Jordans and with Special Olympics and helping them put out their book, 40th anniversary, and then you were a huge part of that too.
Yeah, it's been
And
good.
did you also branch out at one point to baseball?
Yeah,
on the
we've been
Special
doing
Olympics as well?
we've been doing baseball for 20 years.
Okay.
So we do that every Monday. So Monday nights, pretty much, well, almost throughout the year, it's either curling or baseball. So that's been an enormous success as well.
Right.
We have some of the same athletes, but other athletes that are not, maybe they're bowlers and not curlers. But yeah, no, it's been great fun.
Oh, fabulous.
Yeah.
Now, Jane, just on that, what are the challenges? You know, what challenges? It's very satisfying. I know Lucy helps you with on the curling on Mondays, my wife, and she comes home. She's always smiling because it's like one of those satisfying things. But there's challenges that maybe other people are starting. Maybe you can help them, give them advice or tips.
Well, the first thing is that you have to just be with these athletes. Just being around them is very relaxing, and just getting to know them. And as soon as you get to know them, you realize they're just like all of us. They want to be part of something, and learning how to curl or play baseball allows them to be just like everyone else. And so obviously you have to have a lot of patience. You have to throw a lot of factors out the window, and just you have to be where they are and move on from there. And they're all a little bit different. Some of them are nonverbal, so that you have to work your way around that. And you can read a lot about it, but not until you've experienced it can you really get a sense of it's just so worth it. Like once you're with them and you see the progress they've made, it takes away any whatever fear you've had about being around them. Yeah, it's wonderful. Not only for the athletes, but the parents that are with them 24/7. When they bring them out to curling, the parents and caregivers, they're the most grateful people on the face of the earth. I can't say enough about them. So our little part of being with them for an hour and a half or whatever it is just, it's minuscule compared to what the parents have to deal with. And it's just so satisfying.
But you've been able to push some of your curlers and baseball into more personal things like your Anthony's.
Yeah. So exactly. So I guess really as the coaches and volunteers have gained confidence, we've instilled that confidence in the athletes. They've become so confident in their ability, if it's to speak, if it's to perform, whatever it is, it just brings out a new side of them. And one of our athletes has gone on to George Brown College and gotten his degree in baking and has started his own business.
Wonderful.
He now teaches over Zoom. He teaches baking classes and cooking classes and is paid by Special Olympics Ontario to do all this.
Right.
Another one of our athletes drives, and he's nonverbal, but he helps the other athletes incredibly. Just by his actions. And so I think what I'm trying to say is that we learn as much from them as I think we teach them.
Just sounds incredibly rewarding.
It is.
For you and for everybody involved.
It is. You think when it's time to go, you think, oh, I'm tired. I don't really feel like doing this. The second you walk through that door, it's like, oh my gosh, this is incredible.
Sure.
Yeah, we're the blessed ones that we get to do it.
Wow. That's a great way to look at it.
Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah.
Wow, incredible. Well, I think that's a great segue
Is it
to
time?
our fun little section that we call Rapid Fire.
Okay, Jane and Ron Morgan, I have the questions right here. First of all, who's a speed demon?
Ron.
Unless there's a motorcycle instructor in front of you. Country music or rock music?
Country.
What's your favorite
Rock.
band?
Oh.
Rock. Ooh.
Okay.
What's your favorite band, Jane?
Well, I'm kind of going country rockish.
Country
Mine's
rock? Oh.
Country rockish. I love the Eagles.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
I'm a big Eagles.
Ron?
Yeah, we have a full music setup at the cottage, all the speakers, guitars. And the one thing we did is that as the kids were growing up, they had to have a sport and they had to have music, pick an instrument, and we would take care of it. And it's worked out pretty successful. We have one that's a professional musician, but so we've been in music a long time, especially up at the cottage.
You're like the
We've
Leahys.
got a full setup.
Like the Leahys, the Leahy family.
Yeah. At any given time, you can walk into the cottage and
Yeah.
one of our sons is on the drums and,
Wow.
Okay.
or you're sitting outside and he'll just be drumming away. It's just so beautiful.
Oh, neat.
It's
That's
really
great.
neat. Yeah. Sorry.
Okay, so
quick.
cake or pie, Jane?
Pie.
Ron?
Lemon pie
Lemon
Ooh,
pie.
very specific.
and butter tart.
Say a word in Spanish, Ron.
Dos cerveza.
Cerveza.
Jane knows the words.
Yeah, no, I
He didn't hear you.
Oh, sorry. Okay, chocolate or vanilla?
Depends on the time of day. What? Chocolate in the morning, vanilla at night.
She has chocolate at night. She's done, she's awake for the night.
Right, the caffeine. What about you, Ron?
And Ryan?
Chocolate.
Chocolate?
Yeah.
Okay.
Any time of day.
Star Wars? No, hang on. I'm going to change this now. Beverly Hillbillies or Bonanza?
Bonanza.
I'd go Bonanza too.
Dogs or cats?
Dogs.
Yeah, dogs, I'm allergic to cats.
Oh.
They don't have 9 lives with. I shouldn't say that. They'll have to. Somebody will send me hate mail.
Well, we have had 6 dogs, so
Oh,
I would have.
I guess you like them.
Yeah.
We like dogs. Yeah. Yeah.
Have you ever worn socks with sandals?
Ron.
No.
No? That's good. Fashion faux pas, apparently. Okay, Ron, what is your hidden talent?
I should be asking. You should be asking Jane that. Do I have a hidden
I may.
talent?
What your hidden talent?
Which?
Can we go to the next question?
Okay, Jane, what's your hidden talent?
What's your hidden talent? What's my hidden talent? I don't have any.
Your compassion for people.
Oh, that's very sweet. Ron is an excellent cook.
Oh. There we go.
Yeah.
Okay, well, I'm just having fun with this. So, any childhood nicknames?
I was just, well, I won't tell you what my brothers used to call me, but Janie Girl.
Janie Girl, Ron?
Yeah.
What did they call you on the ice, Ron?
A nickname.
Nickname? Baby Bull,
Baby Bull.
was,
Okay.
which is in the articles.
It's in one of the articles.
Okay.
Yeah.
Coffee or tea?
Coffee.
Coffee.
And what is your go-to karaoke song?
You're still the one.
You're still the one.
Okay,
Shania
let's do
Twain.
it. Go ahead, Jane.
No.
Ryan?
Do you have a go-to song?
I'm told I can't. I can't carry a tune.
No. What song you like listening to, friend?
So how did your
I
family become
actually love
musicians?
all music. Yeah, there's blues, jazz,
He just
Oh, yeah.
he likes playing, not singing. Yeah.
What do you play?
guitar.
So that's a hidden talent.
Oh, it's very.
Yeah.
Yeah, we wouldn't know
I
that.
didn't say I played well. I just I play.
Okay, that's it. Rapid fire.
Rapid fire comes to an
Excellent.
end.
Okay.
So that concludes this episode. So thank you to Jane, Motorcycle Mama Morgan, and Ron, Baby Bull Morgan,
There you
for
go.
being here today. Really appreciate it. And to our audience, we just want to say, if you know someone out there that has an interesting story, please let us know. You can send it to us at ideas@lifestoriesmarkham.ca. If also you would like to sponsor this show or an episode, please get in touch with us at info@lifestoriesmarkham.ca. Whether you're listening to the podcast or watching this on YouTube, please subscribe to our channel. That way you won't miss a single episode. This program is produced by Nilesh Hathi Media, and you can reach Nilesh at nilesh.hathi@gmail.com. And all of this information is on our website at lifestoriesmarkham.ca. Thank you. Until next time.